Hello, welcome to the Villa View. It's time for a match preview as Villa take on Bournemouth in yet another 3 o'clock kickoff at Villa Park tomorrow. I'm your host, Dan Bardell, joined by Omar to look forward to the game. The show is sponsored by Luke Roper. If you want to use the code TVV20 to get 20% off everything they have to offer, then please use it. It's there. Why not use it? Omar, how are you?
Good, mate. Yeah, long time. Haven't been on
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah, be too busy this week, so I was thinking we weren't even going to get time to do a preview. I was delighted when you said you were around on a Friday morning because I had no expectation of you being around at all.
I got lucky. I got a meeting cancelled, so yeah, time back in my diary, as they say in the corporate world.
In he comes for a big preview against Bournemouth. Bournemouth going a little bit under the radar, a little bit, I think, at the moment in terms of the relegation picture. I mean, that bottom nine is an absolute joke. And Palace have obviously sacked Vieira this morning. It's so tight in there. But Bournemouth are going relatively well. It feels like they've got a touch of momentum, having beat Liverpool and coming so close against Arsenal. So they're no mugs, and they're going okay at the moment, despite being right at the bottom.
Yeah. Obviously, a great victory against Liverpool at home last week out. I think they've been much better at home than they have been away, which we'll come on to in a second. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I think they've got some dangerous players, definitely in that team. They've been inconsistent, but we own one after that first game of the season.
We've got a bad record against them, really.
Bad record against, yeah. And I think the last time we played in the Premier League at Villa Park was that the game when Douglas Luiz scored his first goal, I think.
Yeah, when Tom Heaton came out and wiped out Callum Wilson in the first minute of his home debut, I think.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was... we were all excited for the Premier League season to properly start. Obviously, we played Spurs before and lost them, and that was a bit of a tough one to do, a tough pill to swallow. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I don't know too much about Bournemouth, to be honest. I haven't watched, which is a great thing to say in a previous show about Bournemouth.
Really showing how savvy we are here on this channel.
But I've watched them a few times. I think they're, Lerma and Billing, I think, they're a decent midfield partnership. Obviously, Billing scored against Liverpool last week.
Billing's their top scorer, I believe. He's always looked useful to me. I don't think the Bournemouth fans have always been keen on him, but to me, he's always looked relatively useful. Like you, I don't watch loads of Bournemouth, but I watched them last week against Liverpool. I thought they were good. They were especially dangerous in transition, which is something that Villa are going to have to look at, especially if Kamara. I don't think he'll be available. We haven't heard from Emery yet, but I'll be very surprised if Kamara came in before the international break, came back in. So in transition, that was where they really hurt Liverpool. So Villa have got to be on it from that sense.
Yeah, I think they are a proper Premier League side in terms of physicality and speed as well. On the counter, I think they physically outmatched us at home earlier on in the season,
bullied us
to death. And I think that's what we've got to be wary of away. I think obviously we'll have more of the ball. Their away record's terrible. I think they've kept one clean sheet in the last 23 Premier League away games, which is awful. And I don't think we haven't failed to score yet in a game under Emery, have we? So that is a good sign. I think the fans will be up for it. We need to get 3 points just to keep on pushing, because Brentford and Brighton and those teams just keep on winning, unfortunately. So it seems like we're destined to finish 11th, especially now Chris Palace has sacked their manager, who are nearest to us. So yeah, I think I do fancy us. I think away from Bournemouth are a different proposition altogether. I think we just have to be careful with that physicality part, especially if Kamara is missing, as you say. I think that's going to be key. And then on the counter attack, I think we've been exposed quite a bit at home. I think our away record's actually a lot better than a home record, and quite often we've been exposed at the back and left ourselves a bit too open at home. So again, we need to be a little bit careful of that.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay. I can see it being a little bit like the Palace game. Being kind, I would describe the Bournemouth back four as a jobbing back four. I think the goalkeeper's been in good form. Neto, I think he was a good pickup from Barcelona. I think he's made a difference going in goal. I think he's picked up the armband on occasions as well. I think he's just given them a bit more calm and composure in goal. Obviously, he's a goalkeeper who's played for some big teams. He's played European football. He's been around the block, and he kind of kept them in it at the start of the game last week against Liverpool. He's in good form at the moment, but they can definitely be got at. If we can get an early goal and go 1-0 up, the game will become even more open, and then that's when I think it may suit Villa a little bit and suit Ollie Watkins. You mentioned that first game of the season, though, and we're talking about finishing 11th. Even on the first day, I think I'd have probably taken 11th. We're a much better outfit than we were when we played them on that opening day. We made Kiefer Moore like a combination of Ronaldo, Messi, Peter Crouch. We made like a combination of all kinds of players that day. So he hasn't been playing for Bournemouth recently. I'm not sure whether he's injured. But surely we can't be worse than we were on the first day of the season, Omar.
No, I don't think so. I hope not anyway. I don't think we've been that poor under Emery at all. Even got near to that level of performance.
It was so flat.
It was so bad. And I remember we were talking about it in that first game. We were like, this just doesn't feel right at that point.
End the season.
Yeah, no, you just knew then, even at that. I know it was very early on the season, and at that time fans were saying it's too early, etc. But you just had a feeling it wasn't going the right way. And I think we're done a complete 180 and going a completely different direction now. And we saw against against West Ham even. I know we drew the game, but the control we had on the ball, we were in terms of pass accuracy, it was 87% last week, and just something we haven't really seen from a Villa side for a very long time, really. If you think about it, even under O'Neill, Leary, even beyond that, we just haven't had that type of team that controls and dominates possessions, which I think we potentially do have now. And we're missing Kamara as well, which is obviously a big miss. But I think we've got the makings of a really good side. And under Emery, the fact that he's managed to transform this side in such a short amount of time is pretty incredible, really, when you think about it. And I think with a few key additions in the summer, I think this could be quite a dangerous side. And the fact we're, as you say, 11th, we'd all taken that. It's a shame we can't push on. I think everyone wants us to push on and break into that top 10.
I think we still could.
Yeah, we still could. And I think these next few games, we've obviously got. I think we've got to play Brentford and Brighton, haven't we? Still, we've got this game. We've got a good run of games still to come. So, I think this is it's not a must win. No game's a must win now because we're pretty much safe, and it's going to be difficult to break the top 10. But if we are going to do anything, if we are going to break into the top 10, we have to win this game, I think.
Do you think Duran might start? I've just got a sneaky feeling. Bailey's, do you think he'll go Bailey again? I think 10. I think 10 of the team picks itself, but is that one space up top next to Watkins?
I think he'll go for Bailey again. As poor as Bailey was last week. The only reason is I don't think he fancies Duran or Watkins out wide. I think he fancies either or Watkins or Duran.
You can play two. The way we play, so Bailey started the game last week, certainly up top alongside Watkins. I think there's a case for Duran. If you're going to play him, I'm not being disrespectful to Bournemouth, but you would assume he's going to get a start at some point this season. Why not this weekend at home to Bournemouth? He like I said, their defence isn't all that. I feel like Duran might be a bit of a handful for them, something maybe they don't expect, something a little bit different. I'm not saying it will happen, but I think there's probably a case for it.
I would definitely start him. I think he's been quite impressive, although he probably should have scored against West Ham. But I think Bailey's it's been really difficult. I've defended him on here. No. I criticised him. He's one of those players, inconsistent. But he's just, I don't know what it is about him. When we signed him, I was so excited. He was really highly thought of. Did excellent at Leverkusen. He had all the attributes, and he has all the attributes, but the inconsistency, he was a lot more consistent in Germany. And I know Bundesliga is a different kind of league, but still, I think I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't understand. His decision-making is poor. He doesn't seem to be fighting for the ball. Doesn't seem to be getting involved in the game. He's sort of drifting out of the game. I don't know. It's just really, really disappointing after having, I think, a decent spell under Emery initially, scoring goals, getting assists. I think he's been relatively really poor recently. So I would definitely start Duran. I think we ain't got that many options, really, do we have, really? Because
especially with Kamara out in midfield.
So you got to play McGinn and Louise.
I suppose Dendoncker could be back. We're recording before Emery's spoken to the press. Dendoncker could be back, and then maybe he'd help with the physical side of things in the middle of the park, because Bournemouth are a big side, and then maybe McGinn goes back to his wide position, and Buendia moves alongside Watkins in the way we line up. There could be that, I suppose, but you would think that Dendoncker, actually, I'd forgotten about this. Dendoncker probably is a good fit, actually, if he's fit to come in for this game, because Bournemouth do have some big boys.
What about Coutinho? Is he any news on him?
Not heard anything. Basically, doing a match preview before the press conference, not ideal. But Villa don't do their press conferences till the Friday, and the games until the Saturday. So we have to put a preview out at some point. You don't want to put it out the night before because it's got a very short shelf life. So
that could be another option, because obviously Coutinho played pretty well.
I said a month, didn't they? I don't think he's been a month yet. It's not been a month since that.
That's a shame. That's a shame. Yeah,
that's a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's difficult to talk about Villa's lineup because there isn't loads of options to choose from. But I guess at the start of the season, we were twisting all over the place. Gerrard, I think, had a different front three in every game in his tenure this season. So, we were
And at
all
the
over
back.
the place. And at the back, it was all over the place. I mean, everything was just all over the place, wasn't
it? Would you play Ashley Young instead of Cash? So I thought Cash struggled last week against
No, I think you'll find it may well be this weekend. He's Young and Luca Dean. I think he will rotate his fullbacks. I think Bournemouth have got some pace on the wings at the moment, so I think I prefer to see Moreno line up at left back. And Cash and Young, for me, it's a toss-up, really. I don't see much between them. Cash has been decent recently.
What do you think of Moreno so far?
Like him. I think he's been better than Luca Dean's been for us so far this season. Got an assist last week. He just offers a bit more. He's got that recovery pace. I think he gets more involved in the attacking phase of players. Well, he's always an outlet and an option, staying high and staying wide. So at the moment, I prefer Moreno. Look, I was really pleased when we signed Luca Dean. I wanted Luca Dean to be a good signing for Villa. I mean, he still may well turn out to be after a pre-season and under Emery, but I've been underwhelmed by him this season. And at the moment, if you're asking me who I'd pick, if Villa had a cup final tomorrow, I'd pick Alex Moreno at left back over Luca Dean.
Yeah, I mean, I think going forward, Moreno's been brilliant, fantastic, and it was brilliant against West Ham. That cross he put in, and just general play, I think has been brilliant. I think going the other way though, I think he's a bit suspect and needs to be a bit stronger in the tackle, which I think will come in time.
You could level that at Luca Dean as well, and I don't.
I think
going forward.
I think they're both powder puff in terms of defensively, but I think Moreno, you got to give him a bit of a benefit of the doubt because he's just come into the league. He's come from La Liga, which is a less physical league, so he needs time to adjust. So yeah, definitely. I think. I mean, the Luca Dean and Moreno sub seems to be one of the favourites for Emery at the moment. He makes every game, doesn't he? So I think what he's looking is Moreno to provide that attacking impetus and output, and then if we're in the lead or doing well, then Luca Dean comes in and brings a bit more solidity. Even though Luca Dean isn't that great of a defensive fullback, I don't think. I think that's the way it's going at the moment. So yeah, I think playing at home, I think you want to play Moreno. I think you need to be on the front foot. So I'd go with that. I think I probably would play Ashley Young rather than Matty Cash. As much as I like Cash, I
honestly think it's just 50-50 between the two of them at the moment. I don't think you're losing or gaining anything depending on which one you play. Really, I think they're both useful. I think they're both having a decent time of it at the moment when they play. But it was kind of like Young played for a month. Now Cash plays for a month, and it could be that Young then comes in for a few weeks and Cash comes in. So I think there will be rotation in that position by the looks of things.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think that's I think that's spot on. And then obviously Konza and Mings have got a good partnership going. Carlos is back, which is great. Yeah. Hopefully, sort of ease him back in as well. And it'll be interesting to see what happens there. If Carlos is back to full fitness, does he get back into the side? Who does he get in the side for? Does he break up that partnership? I guess we'll see.
It's hard to ease a centre back in, isn't it? Because it's not something that you change mid-game, depending on how the game's going, unless there's an injury or a suspension. He's going to have to bide his time a little bit, but then also you're not giving him the match fitness then in terms of Premier League action. So it is difficult with the centre-back to come back from injury. Just before we go, let's just talk about Watkins and Mings, who didn't get called up to the England squad yesterday. Both pretty unfortunate. I've got no argument really with Ivan Toney being picked because I think he's absolutely brilliant for Brentford. I think Watkins has probably got more of a case to be in the squad, but I understand why he's not. I look at those defensive picks and Mings' form. I think he probably should be in there, but Cody's not in there either. He's not been in the best of form for Everton. It feels like Southgate's just always going to pick Harry Maguire, regardless of what's going on. He could not play for 2 years and he'd still be getting picked for England. I think that's just the way it is, and he was okay in the World Cup. In fairness to him, got Gay in there. He kind of signals that he's moving away from Cody and Mings and looking to the future a little bit now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult one. I think if I was Lewis Dunk, I'd probably be more pissed off than if I were Tyrone Mings, because I think he deserves a call up more than anyone.
Yeah, there's a few Brighton boys that could realistically be in there, but it's just not how Southgate operates, and I'm not.
It's a shame. I think it's a shame. Yeah, I think it's a shame. I mean, I think it's pretty bad form, but because he made a big point, Southgate did, about picking players on form, not reputation. But
he's took Sterling out, hasn't he? Sterling's not in there, and Alexander-Arnold's not in there. I mean, he doesn't seem to fancy Trent at all, anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, so he does do it in some respects because Sterling's not in that squad because he's not been playing very, very well for Chelsea in the main this season, so he's been kind of left out. But then it is funny that Maguire still gets picked because you just said Sterling was one of his lieutenants as well.
Yeah, and Eric Dyer as well. I think
Yeah,
another
that's
one
another
who's
one.
been.
Mings is having a far superior season to Eric Dyer.
Yeah. So I don't know. It is one of those things. I mean, I've come to expect it, to be honest. I didn't expect either of them to be in the squad as much as they
I
both
thought
warrant.
Watkins might be.
Yeah, I think with Tony, I think until things are cleared up and he's formally charged and it sort of clears itself up, then I think for now he gets in the squad, because you can't really not pick him based on an ongoing investigation that you could be it could be cleared up or whatever. I think he's just been charged. I don't think he's been
No punishment in yet.
punished. Yeah, exactly. So we have to wait and see. And I think Tony's been fantastic as well. So he's the best of the rest, isn't he, at the moment, Tony?
Yeah, he's such a good player.
And hopefully Watkins gets his chance. And you never know. I think with these squads as well, mid-season, there's always players that get injured or can't withdraw from the squad. So you never know. There's a chance for Watkins to get back in.
Southgate does like Watkins as well. He does.
Yeah, he
does
yeah.
definitely rate him.
Yeah. And I think all Watkins can do is carry on doing what he's doing for Villa. If he's scoring, he's 7 out of 8 now. He's just got to keep doing that, and hopefully he'll get in the squad and he'll get his chance. But I think for Mings, I think he's 30 years old now. I think he's at the peak of his career. If he's not going to get in the squad now, then when is he going to get in the squad?
Left-footed as well, which for me makes a massive difference especially in international football. In some games, makes the difference having the left footer on the left. In my opinion, like you say, he's 30. He's this is the age now for a centre back where you're at your best. I think Stones and Maguire are a similar age to Mings as well. Look, we can complain all we like about Maguire. He's obviously always going to get picked, and in fairness, like I say, he did do well in the World Cup. Probably Eric Dyer would be the one that I would question over Mings. I'm not sure what he's offering that's any better than Tyrone Mings in international football, but we'll never know. We'll see in the summer. I'm sure there's games again in the summer. If Mings and Watkins can continue their form, then maybe they'll make their way back into the squad. Then that does us, Omar. Thanks ever so much for talking to me. Sorry. Don't forget to check out our Stato preview that we did yesterday as well. Heavily Ollie Watkins based, if I'm being honest. So go back and check that out if you haven't watched it. We'll have a post-match point at some point on Sunday, I suspect. So subscribe to the channel with your post notifications on so you know when that's coming. Don't forget to get yourself some loot gear if you are wanting some loot gear. If you're in the market for some clothing, then use the code TVV20 and you'll get 20% off. Enjoy the weekend. I'll see some people at Villa Park tomorrow, I suspect. And as ever, up the Villa.
Up the Villa.